a was it you still have like you're like you played the most as this person and whatever. But now, starting from this point, you have levels you can get on specific characters. And with each character,
So
they will
exactly
have
happened with the
specific things, like specific stats,
enormous
involving each person.
Man, I don't know a thing about it, honest.
So,
I'm just minding my own
what's a good
business when all of a
example
sudden,
here?
wham! I get hit right in the back.
So, for example, for
That's hardly an
Ash,
explanation,
normally you would
yes.
have eliminations, and that's it, right? Nothing. So it's kind of like, Now you have eliminations, bob kills, weapon scoped hits, dynamite damage, critical hits, time played, and wins. And it tracks all of that, which is pretty cool, I think. What's another one? Trying to think of like a really good one. Oh, that's great. So for Genji, it shows primary fire damage, secondary fire damage, solo kills, swift strike resets, time played, wins. Which honestly, now swift strike resets is kind of dumb because basically it's how many times did you have an assist on the kill when someone was dead. Well, like Dragon Blade kills and damage reflected. Like it goes into every single little ability.
It does seem that way.
And it's really cool.
Hello,
the new hero, I actually really like.
Ooh.
But the only problem I have with her is that she's a support that doesn't make you want to play a support. So like I'll go into it. So I'll just go into each thing real quick and give you ideas. Obviously, she's a support, and so she has her thing, right? Her weapon, I think, is actually done very well. And the only problem I think, like with it, and this is a big one. So, well, like it's like the big thing that like. It is the big thing that like balances her out, but at the same time, it's like it's a really big drawback. So, basically, she has a solar rifle, right? She's very sun related, right? Her primary fire is a long. It's a fucking. When it says long range, it means wherever you're looking, that instant it does a hit of damage, right? So like, I don't think I do not think there is like a damage fall off on this shit. So it just goes however far you want it to, and it's an auto charging rifle, which I'll get into. And then your secondary fire is a medium range healing beam that consumes solar energy. Basically, you shoot a straight line, and anybody you have on it is sort of fuck ton. And when I say a fuck ton, I mean like slightly less. Actually, no. So like, you know how annoying it is to like fight against a fucking guy who's getting shot by Ana constantly. Imagine that, but it's a fucking beam, and it does a little bit more. But yeah, and here's the thing: her primary shot, right? On the first shot, you hit them in the head, it does 100 damage, and it can 3-tap people. But here's the reason that I think it's actually really good about how they balanced it out. So obviously, her healing beam, it says it consumes solar energy. It has a thing. It's not like Moira's thing, where like you have to deal damage to like get the heal to get the the bar back up. It's not like a damage thing. You just have to wait a little bit, right? And then for her auto charging beam, it's the same thing, where basically so the first shot, right? It'll do like, say you hit him in the head, boom, 100 damage. So instantly shoot another shot right after, boom, hits him in the head, it'll do like 40 or like 50. Because basically both of the weapon, both fire types have a bar, and they cannot go up if you're using the gun whatsoever. Either of them. So like if you're shooting your gun, right? With your so like you shoot off your shot, right? Boom, you see somebody who needs healed. As you're healing that guy with it, your auto charge will not go up, and so you can't just nail off another 100 damage. You have to wait. It's not a very long time, but the point of it is that you're very first in your shots, in your field. So like, you shoot a shot, boom, heal the guy up, and then you have to stop for like a second and a half. And then you can do the same thing. You can, like, obviously still keep shooting, but it doesn't do nearly as much good. At all. So like, I think that balances it out very well.
Almost.
Especially because like, it basically shoots like the fucking Sojourn railgun, but with less damage, and you're in support role. Her first, so her healing pylon, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's my favorite healing thing in the game.
They're making me choose.
Already. Because it's basically a fucking turret that instead of shooting enemies, heals your teammates, right? So you just throw it somewhere, and it just heals your teammates, right?
Sorry, Lord.
Here's why I love it though. It sticks to, it doesn't bounce off the shit, it just sticks there, because it's a pylon. So you can throw it on ceilings, you can throw it on walls, you can throw it wherever the fuck you want. And as long as they don't damage it, it'll heal, like it'll just keep going. You can't heal it itself, but it does have shields though, which is nice. But you know, it's dope. And then her other ability, it's such a good escape. It's such a good escape. Called Outburst. You basically do like an AoE knockback explosion around you. It doesn't do like, it does like 10 damage. It's not crazy.
I'm leaving one.
Going to try and make it out of here
Right?
again and again.
And apparently if you hold jump, it's allowed to go higher. But the reason it's so good is because, for starters, it has a 7-second cooldown, so it doesn't take long. Because it's up to your escape. But the big thing is that it'll knock enemies in the air a little bit too. So you can actually use it to set up your fully charged rifle shot. So like, it allows you to initiate and disengage at the same time. And I'm not gonna lie to you, if you use it correctly, Reinhardt cannot attack you whatsoever. It's actually kind of funny. Because, well, like he can throw out his charge, but unless he hits you directly, which, you know, you have this, and so it's very hard for him to do that. If he gets close to you, you pop it, it launches him back, you go backwards, he has to run up to you, and like the cooldown on his charge is the same on the outburst, and so he just can't hit you unless he hits you with shit. But you're fucking support, so you heal passively, and you have a healing pylon that will heal you. So it's kind of fun.
Please, I'm not a murderer, you don't.
And then the third one, and like the reason, and so okay, her ultimate, not their ability, the ultimate. This is the reason that she feels like a fucking DPS sometimes and not a support. So basically, for 4 seconds you fly into the air, right? You put a like a little ball in the front of your gun, and your next shot shoots an explosion, like on contact with the ground. Solar explosion, right? And it's AoE. Whoever it hits, they're slowed, and after they take a certain amount of damage, they will like explode, taking like some amount of damage. I don't know how much it is. I'm gonna assume like 100. But the big thing with that is that one, they're slowed, which is very hard for them to escape. But two, the explosion, it's enough damage to activate other explosions. So if there's an enemy, so like if there are 2 enemies that are near each other, whenever one of them goes off, it'll just fucking blow up and do like a bunch of damage. Kill at least one, unless they're both tanks. But like she is just
Hope she
so
won't be back
fun.
anytime soon.
To Symphony defeated.
Oh, shit. Also, her gun, I don't know. it looks really. It looks like a fucking sword, but it's a gun. And whenever you melee, it looks like you just fucking slash him, and I love it. But it doesn't do shit for
Change the
damage.
scenery
It's
at
really
least.
funny. There are some other crazy things. I forgot that. Oh yeah, Somber's doing it. Like entirely. Like I don't think it's gone. Has it gone through yet? No, it has not. It's weird. Like for starters, I don't think she's gonna have a stealth anymore.
Hey, could you do a little favor?
Because people were like, she just fucking does that and annoys the fuck out of you. Right. Like, it's not through yet. I'm gonna look it up, just so I'm not butchering it. But it was interesting. Like, what they
Dead. Time to fix up these fists.
Okay, I guess they're in the mouse.
That'll do.
Oh wait, hold on. They finally out.
More slam dancers.
So I don't remember. So apparently they teased it, but I'm pretty sure the big thing they were doing. Basically, Sambar doesn't play like any other DPS at all, right? And so the big thing they were wanting to do is they were wanting to have to like change her to where stand for like their core identity, but they didn't get rid of her like made her more in tune. So they'll probably get rid of the stealth or just make it not as like, you know, a fucking infinite. What I would imagine they would do is they would probably perhaps get rid of the stealth or something different. Probably change UMP and then change the dislocator into like a damage inhibitor or some shit. I don't know. But no, it was just really interesting. And there's just a bunch of shit. What the fuck am I talking about? Also, so So, alright, so here's the thing that it's not. So, check out.
No hard feelings.
So, for
You got your
context,
hands on Malphon, the Twin Fists, I
the
see.
Overwatch PvE is now in the game, right? Finally.
Appreciate the backup.
As you know, they fucking bombed that shit. Here's the thing that pisses me off though. So it's its own tab. You click on it, and then it takes you into the Winston looking thing, right? There are 4 missions right now. One of them is an event mission, so it's gonna go away. But I think the point of the event missions, us for this one, is to basically give you a taste of like how it plays. And I think honestly, if they had finished it, it would have been really good, because it does have aspects of it. Like there's this one enemy that's like, you know, tanky as fuck. But if you're Tracer and throw a pulse bomb on it, it blows off both of its arms, and so it can't really do anything, and it just walks towards you. But like there's a lot of variety. There's cool shit. One thing I did not realize they would do is at the end of the event level, right? They basically have they have bosses, right? And basically what the bosses are is they are like a combination of multiple what are they called? Heroes from the game made as robots. So in this case, it was Arisa and Ana.
You touch me, and I shall have
The
your
only
head.
problem with it that I noticed is that I don't think they coded it correctly for Ana, because so you know how Mercy with Jumping Sun always, you know, fucking heals and whatever, right? Because, you know, Mercy. Yeah, because of how Ana works, like, you can have someone leave her off somewhere, and then the rest of you just never listen. Just kind of funny. But, yeah, you know, they have that, and then they have other shit that they can do. But here's the thing that pissed me off about the other 3 missions. You still have to buy them. You still have to buy the incomplete. Here's what's even worse. How much do you think, how much do you think 3 missions cost? $15. It gives you 3 missions, which have no achievements that are related to them. Just so you're, there's no achievements related to it, because it's behind a paywall. And it gives you 1,000 Overwatch points. Which, hold on, so how much is 1,000 Overwatch points? That makes sense. Which also, just so you're aware, 1,000, because of how this stuff works, 1,000 Overwatch points gives you jack shit. Like, let me see. I know a hero.
Enjoy your magma bath.
The 1,000 Overwatch coins will get you 1 legendary skin.
You are testing my patience.
My keepsakes.
So you get a free skin and these missions. Where is? Oh yeah. Also, you might find this funny. Overwatch League is currently dying to the point where
Pleasant temperature.
basically, so Overwatch League is like the official league for esports for Overwatch, right? Like, it even has its own tab in the store you can buy skins for each. So, basically, the team. So like, no one, because no one plays Overwatch anymore. No one's watching. So they're not getting any revenue. So they can't pay for the teams. So basically, each team has, like, this has officially been announced. Each team has been given an option of either continuing to play in the league or to take a $6 million payout and to stop stop the game. Which that sounds like a lot. Apparently the buy-in for a team was 20 million. Yeah. So I was like, starters, why is this so much? Second of all, like, we could get third of it, which some of these teams are brand new too. Cause like, hold on, how many teams were there first? Like in Overwatch 1, there was that 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? I don't know why they submitted it. Why are you too long? Because there's two sources. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Vast riches.
6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There were 10 teams, and they've added 7, 8, 9. So they've almost doubled the roster. Which is kind of funny, because if you actually look at the teams,
Didn't have much choice.
they're basically either American or Asian. There's no, well, there's one English team. There's one English team, my bad. But like, the rest of them are just, yeah, no, it's fucked. It's fucked. But yeah, no, so that's all that shit. But I think, honestly, I think where they fucked up for the game. I think that honestly, the start of it, I think what it was is that I think the Overwatch team honestly just got fucked with by Blizzard. Like, I know they're like, Overwatch team is Blizzard, but they got fucked. Like, I'm just like, do you know the story behind that? About how like they announced the PvE, and then like a month later they were like, yeah, so we're gonna take 3/4 of you and put you on other projects. And so they got that with 1/4 of it, but like they couldn't say anything.
Full of minos.
So they just kept having to be like, yeah, guys. Yeah.
Wouldn't say the twin fist.
And so that's how that happened.
I was hungry and unprepared.
And then they went to free to play to try to like keep people playing the game, or like get everything. But they put everything so goddamn high. Like, everything is way too expensive. Like, where are these coins at? So, according to the legendary skin is worth $10. Still, which is insane. And if you want to get any bundle for a character, which includes a legendary skin, the hero, a highlight intro, and a pose, that's like $19, which is just ridiculous. How much does a hero cost? A hero costs $9? Why? I mean, hold on, the hero costs $9, but a legendary skin costs $9. What kind of fucking shit is that? Especially when you can actually get the hero. Like, I think they should. I think honestly, having like the money, like it be this expensive, would have been fine to a degree if they still had the loot boxes. but there's no loot
Got you,
box.
Asterius.
So there's not an incentive to
found.
play. So it's just kind of meh. They did add hero mastery shit. That's coming soon. But it's basically like hero mastery is, which I think they'll have like, I think honestly they'll probably have people who get on this game and only do hero mastery. And it's basically like it's basically a unique firing range for each character. But instead of like a firing range, it has challenges you choose that focus around each ability, right? And you have like the course you can do. However, the big selling point is that your time on it goes into a leaderboard and it's worldwide. So you're gonna have people trying to, like, figuring out ways to get the top like fucking trying to get the top bastion fucking tactical grenade thing. I'm just like that. I think the only problem with it though is
Whatever, let's try it.
is if they
You
do it
truly are an idiot, aren't you?
and they get rid of an ability. It's like, well, oh no, yeah, I think it would have been good.
Not now.
I shall deal with you later then.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Father.
They just fucked it. Like really bad. Yeah.
Don't spend it all in one
Which
place,
sucks, because I love Overwatch. But like they did, like tanks feel really important. Like they like I played tanks, like couldn't stop myself from getting hit, so I was like, might as well make it my job to get hit. But like it's just kind of like, especially whenever they have characters like Bastion who are designed to just murder the tank. This was fun. Oh, this pissed me off. So I got home. I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, time to watch the new episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, right? I get home, I turn on my shit, and I go, why the fuck is there not a new episode happening? Also, with my Zom 100, I have no goddamn no idea, right? Turns out that because like it didn't happen with my other show that I'm watching, which actually I was looking at. But you know, these two shows, I'm like, I googled it, and apparently, so for Zom 100, the reasoning is because I guess because it's like it's a big anime. Like, it's not like a big one, but it's a big deal. Like, it's on Netflix and stuff, you know, like all this shit. And basically, it just so happened that the scheduled airtime for it was the same time that because there's anime all over the place, but some Asian place, there was a scheduled like program they had to have for like the government. So it took the spot of Zom 100, like there was complaining every night. So they had to delay it a week, right? Which is very unfortunate. But I will get it Monday, and I'll be happy. However, Jujutsu Kaisen It's the same thing, but I'm
Feels
pissed
better.
off about it. It's so for context, this season
Rematch.
is supposed to be 23 episodes,
See here, Asterius.
right?
God,
God-hated.
They have
To be more specific.
5
The
episodes.
gods
Hold on,
on my side.
have you watched it at all?
they have made up their minds. They stand united.
Okay, you can watch it. But alright, so do I at least know who Gojo is because we talked about all of that in place. Do you know who that is? Do you know who Gojo is? Okay. So basically, the first 5 episodes, which are the ones they released, are basically a prequel of when he was in high school. And it follows him and Geto, who is the main, who's like the main guy in the, bad group, right? Besides the obvious, because he didn't used to be bad, and it basically goes into that. And they have 4 episodes of this little mini arc, and they have one which is different, but it basically goes into why Geto went bad. It's actually pretty interesting. And a bunch of other stuff. And then episode 6 was supposed to go back to Yuji and all the main people. And it's supposed to have probably it's supposed to have what I believe is the biggest arc in terms of shit to happen across 18 episodes. So crazy shit. I get home, it's not there. I Google it, and it's not gonna be here for including this week 2 weeks. And I won't be able to watch it until the 24th. Because, for some reason, they decided that they were going to have a little news split between the prequel and the now part, right? So so they had a 2-week break after their 5 episodes. After their 5 episodes,
So you keep
and then they're going to release the 18 episodes normally. However, it's 3 weeks, and that's because you know what I mentioned about Zom 100 and how I had that scheduled thing. Yeah, same fucking thing happens on that day that we're supposed to get episode 6. So they had to put it back another week. And I'm like, are you shitting me? And it's so fuck. But yeah, no, so there's that one. I will say though, at least to me, I do highly recommend Zom 100. It has been quite enjoyable. It basically follows. So the first episode and the rest of the show are different because the first episode is basically supposed to set up why the character is the way he is. Because it's a zombie anime, but it's very upbeat for a zombie anime. And that's because basically the main guy he worked for one of those it wasn't technically manga. They never told me what it was, but what kind of company it was. But it was one of those exploitation companies, and he worked there for 3 years, and then he basically a zombie apocalypse happened, and all he could think of was, wait, I don't have to go to work anymore. And he's just so fucking happy all the time, and he's like, yay! like it's basically the best thing that's ever happened to him. This is zombie apocalypse. But yeah, so it's pretty good. This game, one thing that I do find though it's hilarious is apparently the company who makes it, well, this anime, right? There's a bunch of people who happen to work for an exploitation like manga like corporation, right? And so they switched out the building in they didn't show a building in the manga, but in the anime they showed like a drawing of their old building. So, to be like, haha, fuck you guys, we're over here now. So it's kind of funny. It kind of looks like the Needle, honestly. So, you know what? It's the Needle. Basically, imagine like this really tall, very thin structure that goes really high up, and then at the top it goes like a viewing ball. And it's called the Needle because it looks like at a distance, it looks like a fucking needle is going into the ground. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I was really happy, and then I was a little sad again because I checked my Nier Automata, and they finally, like, apparently, I guess like a month ago, started releasing a PlayStation, and I was like, fuck yeah! I was so happy because it was on episode 12. And then I looked it up, and there's supposed to be 24 episodes, and I'm like, god damn it! I've waited for this kid since January. I just want to watch it. I will never get it. They'll get to 23 cancel it. It's like it's like a somewhat big deal too, because it's like Nier Automata was like the big game for the Nier series, because so I didn't know that, so I'm not gonna lie to you, compared to Automata, Replicant, I was very disappointed, because it's weird. So
Not far from here,
basically, Nier Automata was their big game, right? But they've had other games before that, and Replicant was the previous game to Automata. They just remastered it, but they didn't really change anything.
Made it again.
And so the reason people were disappointed with Replicant, and like what one guy pointed out, because he like played it before Automata, is that Replicant was the building point. Well, like what was like where the foundation was being made for Automata, and why it was so good.
You shall ultimately perish.
So there are a
Yet you
lot of
still
things
persist.
that they have in common with Automata, but it's not as polished. So what's a good example? So a good example is for Automata, you have to play through the game, quote unquote, the whole game, several times. Well, 3 times. For the full story. There is the first time you play is 2B, second time you play is 9S, and then the third time it's like the actual second half of the game. Because basically the first one, the first playthrough basically is like, hey, this is the area, but then it raises all these questions, and it's like, why is this thing like that? Like the biggest example I can, like the biggest what the fuck I can give you. It's perfect. And it's really funny story. So I was playing the game, right? I was in the desert area. I'm walking through this like chasm, I guess, kind of thing, right? My dad comes in and he's like, "Hey, what are you playing?" I'm playing Nier Automata. He's like, "Never heard of it." He watches me for a minute. And in that minute, I turned the corner, and keep in mind, the basic robots are like basically walking trash cans. Right? There was like 100 of them having to move. And I was like, what? But I didn't realize it at first. So I'm looking at the robots, and they don't have parts. So I'm watching them, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, I know that position. That's doggy. What the fuck? And you don't get context for that until you play through with the 9S part. Because 9S, because he's a scout, he gets like flashes and shit. And basically what you learn is that you basically learn that in 9S story that humans you're supposedly protecting
repeatedly like this.
have long been extinct, and basically the
Time to time.
the androids are basically just working to like get revenge, but the only ones who know that are the really high. So, well, like, okay, not for revenge, but like they just don't have a purpose. And so it's just the higher up being all the less. So with that, because the machines, so humans, they don't have a purpose. They don't have purpose either. So they gradually are becoming machines.
Go back.
But they're robots, so they
Let's
can't
finish this.
You strike
Like-
at your own father.
do it the same. And to give you an example,
You asked for this.
about fucking first run, it's like 2/3 of the way through.
I cannot help you now.
We'll say, so like half of 2/3 of the way through. You come into this jungle, and it's like a kingdom of all these robots, right? And all these machines. All your way through, you're trying to get to the king, and when you finally do, it's a fucking baby, like a baby robot in a cradle. And you're like, what the fuck is this? But then, you know, fucking another android shows up to kill it, and you're like, you're like, what the fuck? Find out in 9S's story, basically what happened is there was an actual king, and they had
Behold,
an actual king. And for some reason, there happened to be, he happened to be taking ownership, so he's the father of this fucking baby robot that was programmed to be a baby. I don't know why. But the king robot dies. So then the rest of the robots are like, hey, our leader's dead. This is the prince now. So
We're not finished.
we have to defend the kingdom until he's old enough to be king. Which you know makes sense for humans. But he's a robot. So he never grows up. So they're permanently just protecting this kingdom that will never happen. And like at the point you get like the point you find this kingdom, it had been 100 years since that kingdom had died. And like that's why it's kind of like all those swords like basically going back to the OG, basically the reason for that is because
Even now, knowing Mother
that
wants to
was
see
the
me
start of basically the
blast
robots
you.
growing
Shall
emotions,
ruin everything
right?
with all your damnable questions.
And they wanted to
again.
basically
Die already.
they were
Get the
trying to
hell out of
figure
my
out
way.
how to like
Good.
satisfy these emotions with their robots, and so they like researched and all this, and they found fucking porn
That was as
basically.
fast as I've gone.
So then they're all trying to do all that stuff. And actually what's even funnier about it is that they actually
It's gonna
know.
lock
They go,
Inspector
it's my favorite fucking what the fuck scene in the game, I'm not gonna lie. Because it was just so fucking random, and I was like, what? Just keep in mind, none of the tomfoolery in this game had happened yet. So I was like, what the fuck is this? I was so confused right now. Like, I was just walking around stabbing robots and like, okay, you know, whatever. And then this shit, and I'm like,
Is this
what the
a
fuck?
trout?
But so there's that, and basically throughout
Is that you?
basically
I begged the
first
fates
run
that you'd
sets
return to
of
me.
questions. Second one
Perhaps I ought to be
answers
more
like
careful how I speak of them.
95% of the questions,
Tell me, how was your journey? What happened?
and then the third
Father didn't make
game
it any easier for me.
is basically the
Nor would he tell me why he
continuation
never sent for you you
after
left. So,
like the events
don't know
of the
what's going
first
on
one,
still, but
or the first,
I wanted to see
well,
you
the
again.
first two runs, which is
I wanted
really
to see you
interesting
too. Come, stay
because
quickly
you
with
find
me,
out
that our
like
time
there's a
together here
lot
may
of
be as
like
full
shit
as
that
possible,
happens. Like
all
I need to know what happened
one big
between you
thing.
and Father.
So
Why are you here and not with
2B
us?
is a female.
I couldn't live
droid,
with myself
right.
anymore down there.
She is
After I
a
left
and
Olympus, a long story
and
in
B's are
itself,
battle, so they're battle
I came to be
droids,
with your
right?
father in the underworld. It was a shock, to say the least.
There's a
The
third
others in your
android
father's house were
android
welcoming enough, but
that becomes a part of it
I
called
never felt
A2.
that I belonged.
She's assault droids. Basically,
I know the
she's an
feeling,
assault
I
droid.
think.
Basically, assault
But you
droids
stayed
are the same as battle
long enough to
droids,
have me.
but
Those
they
who I've
had this
spoken to about you,
mechanism
it's, as you
that would
said,
basically
they have
allow
fond
them
memories
to
of you.
like take up like
And
to like
then you
put
even
them in
had a
high
child.
risk,
Did Father... Did he mistreat you?
like in terms of like dying,
No,
but
no.
they could just fucking
Your father
annihilate
could be
shit,
very
and that's why
difficult.
they're assault droids.
Though he was gentle with me.
And
Soon enough, we got on fine. Better than fine. at
9S
times,
is a
but
scout droid, so like he's supposed to be
when
reconnaissance
I was
and
with
shit.
child,
It's basically
I
2B and
struggled
9S put
terribly.
together.
because
He ends up
a
falling for
child
her
born of
gradually,
surface dwellers could not live.
but he's not
down
supposed to,
there.
and so he doesn't say anything. You just
To
kind of
not
figure it
live
out.
down there according to whom exactly? The fates?
But she's always kind of like she
According
never
to
says
them,
anything about it.
yes.
And you find
According
out
to your
the
father
reason
and
for
to
this
Nyx.
is
Even having
because
heard, I took my chances anyway.
basically you find out at the end of the game, because at
When
this
you
point
emerged
2B is dead
stillborn,
because of a virus
was
that
too
happened. I don't want
much.
to get into that shit.
I fled.
But he goes insane.
I fled
Right.
and
He goes
came to
sicko mode.
reside
It's
here.
insane.
Above the
But
notice of
because
the underworld,
like it's actually really fucked up because
beneath the notice
so
of Olympus.
basically the
But why would Father
like,
lie to you?
you
If he
oddly
never
enough
wanted
never
you,
find like the
or
same type
never
of
wanted
droid,
me,
and
surely
you
he had
find out at the end
means.
of the game because like
don't
towards the end of the
know.
game because
I'm wondering the same.
9S has to fight a bunch
But,
of battle
oh,
droids
Look at you, Zagreus.
like us,
We're
so like
running out
3B,
of
4B,
time.
but
What's happening
they all
again?
look the same. So he's
Stay with
basically
me,
forced
please.
to kill the woman he loves
I'm trying.
over and
but I
over
can't
and over again
Stay that much longer.
in like
I
a
don't
matter of a
think-
short time. And then
my
because
dear
his
son,
arm gets infected by
then
this virus,
please,
he has to cut off
ask
one of
Hades
those
what you
droids'
asked of me.
arms and
Why he would
fucking take
lie.
it, put it back on his arm
Tell
and
him I
hack it,
must
and so
know,
he
the
doesn't
same
get
as
the
you.
virus.
And you farewell,
Bunch of shit.
until we meet again.
But you know whatever. And then you find out because he
Until
gets some
we-
of the memories for some reason. I forget what it was. He gets some of 2B's memories, and basically, she was never actually a battle droid.
Father, you.
She was her actual code was 2E, and E is for executioner.
What happened to you? You just
And basically,
You just
what
died
happened
like nothing
was
stabbed you, bludgeoned
is
you,
because
poisoned you,
scouts
burned you,
are
crushed
naturally
you,
very
blew you to
curious, but
bits,
they're
turned
very
you to stone,
important.
but you're back here.
What
Look at
end up
those
happening
natural
is
causes
their
mortals
scout
talk about.
droids, or androids, will eventually find out the truth of the
Help me to
humans.
understand something here, Orpheus.
So they're each
Why
assigned,
do I
well, like
bother
the
keeping
very
such a
curious ones and
If I
who are
may be
and who are
so
good at
bold,
it,
my lord,
they get
perhaps
assigned
the merest sight.
I used
like
to
an
tolerate
executioner
your
droid
insolence.
who's marked something else, like
We're
battle droid,
finished here.
assault
You find
droid, or
your
whatever.
voice.
Which in this case is
Poor
2B.
Orpheus.
And
There's a
basically,
good boy.
every time 9S has found out, you know, humans, oh, you know, whatever, she's been forced to kill him and reset him, and then pretend it and pretend
I
they've
found a
never
boy,
met
My
before,
mother. Persephone, you remember her, don't you? She was
like
pleased to hear
over and
about
over
you,
and over again.
But I
And
couldn't
it gets
stay for long,
fucking
and I
insane.
have to find her again.
It is just, there's
So,
just so many
guess I'll see
layers
you
of
at the
the
temple then.
game, and there's so many like
Ghoulish features of the much
like,
reviled Hound of Hell
plots.
soften
It's just so
instantly upon
good.
the mention of a certain name.
And apparently,
Briefly then, The monster
one thing that
is
I'm
at
really
peace.
loving is that I obviously haven't watched it yet, well, the anime, but apparently, according to what I've read, they somehow integrate the multiple endings of the game in the anime. But I don't know how they do it. And I'm
Night
really
and
curious.
darkness.
Like, do they include the dumb ones like you eat a fish and you die? Like, I'm so curious. Which is, well, for context, as a side mission you can do.
Malphon,
So like,
reveal
what
your
was it? So
secrets.
in the near games, there are 26 endings for like the game, right? But what it actually is I'll speak in terms of Automata because I don't know Replicant. There are 5 actual endings to the game. There's 2B's run, which is A, 9S's run, which is B,
You.
and then you have 3 endings for